Antes se desempeñó como Senior Associate en Estrategia en la empresa KPMG de Estados Unidos en Atlanta, Georgia. Tiene un máster internado en Estrategia y Desarrollo de Marketing también en la compañía 3M con sede en Minnesota. Y por el otro lado, Pablo Esteves, Partner Engineer Media Partnerships en Facebook. Trabaja junto a socios estratégicos y equipos de ingeniería y productos para definir, lanzar y escalar productos en Facebook. Así que bienvenidos y estamos con ustedes. Va a ser en inglés, así que quienes necesitan los auriculares, por favor. Entiendo que Pablo hablarás en español. Inglés también, así que va a ser una presentación en inglés. Le damos unos minutitos a quienes van a buscar los audífonos, así podemos empezar. Y el próximo panel, y para cerrar, obviamente, como dijimos ayer, lo tendremos. Eduardo, ¿cómo salió Gremio? Ganó 2-0 Gremio. Entonces vamos a tener un excelente taller hoy con Eduardo y con Chus. Ayer teníamos miedo que pierda Gremio y venga un poco bajoneado, pero creo que ahora vamos a tener una buena impronta. Mientras viene nuestra gente, a mí me toca hacer anuncios. En marzo la reunión de medio año va a ser en Saltillo, cerca de la ciudad de Monterrey, en México. Así que ahí esperamos verlos. Excuse me? Okay.
I have one up here.
Yeah, they have one. Do you have it? Oh, you don't need one. Okay. Bueno, se han demorado un poquito para traer, yo no sé, está medio lento Venezuela, Argentina. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
Good morning. So we're going to talk with you today about subscriptions and instant articles. To start off with, we'll give an overview of the product. We'll talk about which publishers this product is a good fit for. We know it's not a fit for everyone. And then we'll take questions as well. My name's Stephen Largen. I am a product marketing manager for our paid news products. I'm based in the New York office.
And good morning, I'm Pablo Esteves. I'm based out of Miami. I'm a partner engineer.
So we'll start off with an overview. So we'll give you a little bit of the history of the product. We first started testing this product in 2017. We started out with 13 publishers. The beta test began in 2018. At that point, we added another approximately 30 publishers. And in June of this year, we made the product available to all eligible global publishers. And the reason that we've developed this product a couple of years ago is we started hearing from more and more publishers as they were transitioning to a user pay business model that it was going to be really, really important that we respected that model on Facebook. And so what we did is we built in paywall functionality into Instant Articles. And for those that aren't familiar with Instant Articles, this is Facebook's mobile-only accelerated article format. So quicker load times, really attractive formatting for the reader. So there are a few main value propositions to this product. Number one, as I just mentioned, is a support for a subscription-focused business model. You're able to build in multiple kinds of paywall logic into the product, which we'll talk about on an upcoming slide. Number two, and very importantly, is that there is no revenue share with Facebook. So publishers, when they sell subscriptions using this product, they're able to keep 100% of the revenue that they garner. They also maintain control and ownership of the relationship with the customer. So the actual transaction where the user is inputting their information, they're inputting their credit card information, it takes place on publishers' mobile websites. So it's not even on Facebook at that point. The third is that this product can really lead to better distribution on Facebook. And the way that this works is the Instant Articles format, it feeds a virtuous cycle of increased consumption, more sharing on Facebook, such that the newsfeed algorithm starts to prefer that content. and distribute your content in an enhanced way. There's also something called a welcome screen and then subscriber-only posting. So this is starting to unlock retention strategies for publishers so that they're able to keep customers subscribed longer. The way that this works is new subscribers from on and off Facebook, they're able to link their account to Facebook so that they never have to see a paywall once they've already signed up for a subscription. Then they can also choose to follow your page if they don't already on Facebook, and then see content from publishers first in their newsfeed. And then lastly is just the built-in benefits of Instant Articles, which our colleague Varun Shetty, he touched on this in his presentation on Wednesday. But generally, it's just more views, increased clicks, a lower bounce rate, and more time spent with these articles relative to your mobile web. So I'll talk a little bit about the product functionality. So there are 3 different content types that a publisher can set using this product. So the first is free. This is an article that's going to be available to everyone. There won't be a meter on it. It will be completely unlocked. Number 2 is locked. So if a publisher is using a freemium model where they lock some of their content and they leave other content unlocked, they can do that with this content type as well. And then also more of a traditional paywall for metered. So when you set up the product, you'll be able to set up the number of articles that users can see before they reach your paywall. And I did want to mention that one thing that we've seen from our alpha and beta tests is that it's very, very important that publishers, if they are going to use this product, that they have a high adoption rate for Instant Articles. Because what that means is that users are not seeing extra articles before they see your paywall. So for example, if you have a 50% Instant Articles adoption rate, a lot of users will end up seeing 6 articles and your meter might be set to only 3 articles. So pretty important to have a high adoption rate for this product to be the most successful. There's a little bit of a different experience for users that are using Android devices versus those that are using Apple devices. So on the Android side, the paywall is actually handled natively on Facebook's infrastructure. So it's a really smooth experience. It loads beautifully, loads quickly. On the Apple side, the paywall is actually hosted directly on the publisher's mobile website. So it's a bit of a complicated backstory to this, but basically, to explain it simply, this was the result of a compromise with Apple. And we thought it was very, very important that publishers would be able to keep 100% of the revenue from these subscriptions. And so this was sort of the compromise that we reached with Apple, was to allow publishers to load this on their mobile web. So if you are a publisher that has a lot of customers that are, a lot of readers rather, that are using Apple devices, it'll be very important to optimize your checkout flow. So to give an overview of what this product is and isn't, and this kind of goes to what I mentioned earlier, that this product is a fit for certain publishers and it may not be the best fit for others. So what it is, as I mentioned, this is a product that allows publishers to monetize directly on Facebook, selling subscriptions. So obviously this is not going to be a great fit for a publisher that does not yet have a subscription model. Number 2, as I mentioned again, there's no rev share, which is a bit of a contrast with some other companies that are starting to work with publishers to sell subscriptions. And then in general, Instant Articles, it's a superior performance relative to mobile web. So when we tested this during our beta test in 2018, we found that publishers seeing Instant Articles, they were 17% more likely to sell subscriptions versus users that were seeing only mobile web articles. The other thing to mention as well is that you can definitely start to unlock retention strategies on Facebook. So subscriber-only posting. Publishers have the ability to target only their subscribers with posts that all other users on Facebook will not see. So for example, some ways that this could be used: publishers can thank their subscribers. They can explain what the support of a subscription means in terms of your ongoing news gathering. You can deliver special messages to your subscribers. There's a lot you can do with this. And I did want to mention that these subscriber experiences, this is something that we're starting to put a lot more emphasis on, and you'll be hearing more about it from Facebook. But we're going to be working really diligently on this for the rest of 2019. And then on the other side, to mention what this product really is not and what it doesn't do. There is sometimes a misconception about what this product is going to do in terms of unlocking a volume of subscriptions. So if you just turn the product on, it's not going to be a subscriptions fire hose. It's not going to automatically generate a ton of subscriptions. It needs to fit into a larger subscription strategy. And you'll need to learn how to optimize the product and experiment and use it properly in order to make it the most successful. One other thing to mention is that we've heard that there are more publishers, and we understand that there are more publishers that are starting to use a propensity paywall logic. So essentially tailoring different offers to different types of users based on how likely they are to become a subscriber. We don't support that functionality currently on the platform. However, if there is a publisher that's using this model on their owned and operated pages, they can certainly employ, a static model on Facebook if they'd like to take advantage of the other benefits of the product. And lastly, this is not a native insights product. So there is definitely an interdependence on the Facebook pixel in order to unlock insights via Facebook analytics. And so it's super, super important. And we've seen this through the alpha and beta test, that a publisher integrate properly with the Facebook pixel to get the most value out of the product. So to touch on subscriber experiences and account linking is the process within this product that unlocks the welcome screen. And the way that this works is Facebook can receive a pixel signal from users that are subscribing, become new subscribers. And what that does, that signal comes back to Facebook. We look for a user that has a matching email address to the user that signed up on your mobile website with their email address. When we do find a match, we offer those users the opportunity to link their account to Facebook so that they don't see a paywall once they've already become a subscriber. They can also elect to follow the publisher's page on Facebook and then also see that publisher's content first in newsfeed. So when we tested this welcome screen in 2018, it was very, very promising results. So a little bit surprisingly, only 54% of subscribers were already following a publisher's page on Facebook. When we introduced this feature in testing, that number jumped all the way up to 94%. So a huge jump in page follows for pages that users are subscribing to. And then also, it increased consumption of subscribed articles among this group of subscribers on Facebook by 40%. So there are a few different publisher archetypes that can fit in with this product. So the first is a metered publisher, which is a very, very natural fit with the product. They can match the conversion funnel from their owned and operated channel very easily. In general, for these publishers, they're going to see increased paywall exposures relative to mobile web, and it's also going to drive more purchases compared to mobile web. For freemium publishers, and these are publishers, again, who are locking some of their content, unlocking other content. This model is going to work very well because they can do that on an article by article basis. And what this means is they can experiment with locking certain content, leaving other content unlocked, but then also still monetizing that unlocked content via ads. And we don't support, as I mentioned earlier, we don't support the dynamic and propensity logic for this product right now, but if a publisher still wants to use this, they can definitely do so. They'll just have to employ a little bit of a different strategy within Facebook than they might have on their own website. So to give an overview of the onboarding and what that looks like for this product. So when we first launched this product, it did take a significant amount of time for most publishers to integrate. On average, it took 4 to 6 weeks. We've done a lot of work to bring that implementation cost way down for publishers. So right now, on average, it takes about 1 to 2 weeks to fully integrate this product. There can be a little bit of additional time depending on the prioritization of the publisher and how much engineering bandwidth they have. In general, there are four main steps to onboarding. So number one, the publisher has to comply with Facebook monetization eligibility standards. Number two, if a publisher is not already on Instant Articles, they'll have to first onboard to Instant Articles before they can onboard to the paywall. Number three is that paywall integration, which is the step that takes 1 to 2 weeks for most publishers. And as part of that process, publishers will set up Facebook Analytics and the Pixel. There are some general eligibility guidelines for the product. So number one, the publisher already has to use Instant Articles. Number two, the publisher will need to have a paywall model on their website. So when a publisher tries to sign up for this product, we actually have human reviewers that will go out to your website. They'll click around, explore, and just ensure that you do have a matching paywall model. In order to request access to the product and get the onboarding process started, publishers can navigate to their publishing tools, and then there'll be a gray menu on the left side of the page, and there'll be a subscriptions tag. You can click into that menu. You'll then be able to access developer documentation. You'll be able to access FAQs about the product and just learn more about the product as well there. So this is just an overview of what Publishing Tools looks like for this, and then also just an overview of what it looks like to set up the front-end flow, so what users will see. So this is the step where you'll initiate your business model review. And then you see there at the bottom, you can actually, if you want to navigate directly to the developer documentation, that's the URL for that. So I did want to mention the analytics that we offer in tandem with this product. So it uses Facebook Analytics, which is why I mentioned earlier that implementation of the Facebook Pixel is really, really important in order to unlock the most value. We did start introducing what we're calling curated publisher dashboards. So these are essentially dashboards that we've set up in a way that provides some critical information to publishers about how their audience is consuming Instant Articles. And we've offered this to our alpha and beta partners so far. We are committed, if there's another Facebook managed partner out there that wants to onboard to this product, we will have a hands-on approach to setting it up for you. If you're an unmanaged partner, we also do have documentation that allows a publisher to set this up themselves. It should take 1 to 2 hours. It's not a heavy lift. So my colleague Pablo is going to talk about which publishers are generally a good fit with the product.
Great. Thank you, Steven. So what I would like to do next is share with you some of the experiences that we've had working with alpha and beta partners. So you can determine as a publisher if this product is a good for you or not. Mostly like the main question that we want all of you to answer is whether you'll have a positive return on investment by using this product. So while the following is not a comprehensive list, based on the results we've seen in the last year and a half, we're confident that we can help you make an informed decision based on these dimensions. I'll get into the details of each one. So, by the way, we're going to open up for questions at the end of the presentation, so I'll be glad to take the questions in Spanish as well. So, as I was saying, I'll get into the details of each of those, but these are basically like the most important dimensions that you'll have to assess. The first one is, it's not a surprise, it's the cost. So when we talk about return on investment, and we want to maximize it, we can do two things. One, we can increase the revenue it generates. And two, we can reduce the investment that's required to get the product going. So this one is about reducing that investment. So how much money, how much time will it take for you to use this product? The answer is, as always, it depends. So what I'll do is I'll help you know like which are some of the questions that you'll need to answer if you want to be able to estimate the amount of money it will take your organization to use this product. As Steven was saying, number one, development resources. Do you have an in-house development team, or do you rely on contractors? What's the availability of that development team? You know, what's the priority that this project would take when it's compared to other priorities? Are you already using instant articles or not? That's important. It's really important, because if you're not, then you also have to account for the cost of onboarding to instant articles. And that may vary depending on the technologies that you use. It could be really simple. It could be like a custom, completely custom implementation. So you'll have to account for that. Also, Steven mentioned that. Do you already have an existing subscriptions model on your website? Or do you have to go first and change how your website works? Remember, you know, the good thing about owning the checkout flow is that you have full flexibility. The bad part is that you'll have to maintain it. So that's something else that you have to take into account. You'll have to take the user throughout the whole checkout or login flow and then send it back to Facebook so the experience is completed. So you're the best ones to answer those questions, but what I can tell you is two scenarios where we have seen that the cost of implementation should be low. Number one is if you have multiple publications that all share the same technology stack. What that means is that your team will be able to create integration once, and then you'll be able to deploy the same implementation across multiple websites. In other words, what we're doing is we're taking the integration cost once and we're spreading it across multiple properties, so the cost should be lower. Number two is if you're a client of a third-party paywall provider that already has an integration with our product. That's an example of Piano. So if you're a Piano client, or there are many others out there that already has an integration with our product, then you don't have to implement it. The only thing that you have to do is configure it. So the provider is the one that implemented it and took the cost of implementation, and then you are configuring it. The next dimension that you should evaluate is what's the model that you have for accessing content on your website. So Steven mentioned the archetypes of publishers. So we have seen the best results with our product for publishers that use a metered model, meaning that if you have a set limit of articles that non-subscribers can consume for free in a period of time, let's say a month, then you'll likely get good results with this product. What happens with freemium or hybrid, where you have some content that is free and some content that is premium or locked, is that the experience is not that different than the experience a reader will get if you don't implement this product. So we're basically sending your user mostly to your mobile web. So there's not a huge lift that your readers will get. In addition to using a meter model, the best results that we have seen is when that model, the limit is low. And low could be vary by market, but what I would say is closer to 3 free articles than closer to 30 free articles in a month. That's something that you should account for. The next one is instant articles. So this is related to the previous two. So number one, are you already on instant articles, or do you have to include the cost of getting to instant articles in your evaluation? Number two, even if you're using instant articles, what's the adoption rate that you currently have? In other words, what percentage of the content that you publish to Facebook is in the format of instant articles and which is not? And beyond that, even if you're using instant articles, and this is important, do you clearly understand the value that instant articles by itself, not the subscriptions product, by itself brings to your organization? Do all stakeholders in your company understand that? And here's the risk. If that value is not clear, and then you go and you decide to implement subscriptions, and then one day somebody says, hey, I don't know if instant articles are working for me or not. Let's either reduce the adoption rate that we have, or let's get off completely. Then the ROI will get completely diluted because you have your implementation cost, and then you're not getting really the benefits of the product because you don't have many subscribers converting through this flow. The next one is about the readership volume. So the question is, how many users will end up hitting my paywall? So even if you're able to get the implementation cost at a low level, is the revenue, the incremental revenue that you'll be able to generate through this product able to offset the implementation cost? And if so, what's the expected timeline for you to return, to receive that investment? For example, for publishers that do not have a large volume of readers, that's the case, for example, in the US of regional or local publishers, they will likely won't get a positive ROI just because then the number of users to offset that cost is not there. Even if they have a high lifetime value, they won't get it. So that's something very important to account for. And then last but not least is, what is your measurement strategy? How will you know, even after you implement it, if the product is working? First, Steven mentioned that you'll have to implement the Facebook pixel. So it's a functional requirement of the product. So Facebook is sending the user to your mobile website, so you have full control of the checkout and the sign-in process. But then you have to find a way to signal back to Facebook that transaction happened. So either it's an existing subscriber that's logging in, or it's a new subscriber that you're acquiring. So you have to signal that to Facebook so the user goes back to reading content on Facebook. So that process, that signaling process, happens using the pixel. But number two is, are you able and are you willing to implement the analytics tracker throughout the whole checkout process? And for that, you don't need to use exclusively the Facebook Pixel. You can use any analytics tool that you use. Actually, you can use multiple. So if you use Google Analytics, if you use Omniture, you're more than free to use those. And then even if you instrument the whole funnel and you're tracking each step of the way from reading content to seeing the paywall to hitting a checkout page to the full conversion, are you comparing apples to apples? For example, do you have the same limit on Facebook for instant articles than you have on your website? If you don't, then you can still compare absolute numbers. I got 100 subscriptions from Facebook. I got 50 from my website. Does that mean that it's working better? I don't know. So if you don't have the same limit, you may get results that you're not able to analyze. Same thing goes to offers. Are you applying the same offers on your website that you apply on Facebook? Typical scenario we have seen is some publishers run special campaigns on their websites, but they don't match those campaigns on Facebook. So they lower the price on their websites, but they don't lower the price on Facebook. And then, unsurprisingly, the number of subscriptions they get on their website is much higher. So we can help you, and the analytics solution that we either provide you as a curated dashboard or the instructions that we have on our website for you to be able to create the same dashboard on Facebook Analytics explains how you can benefit from the A/B testing that we can give your users so you can truly understand the performance of this product when it's compared to the performance of your website. So that's it from me. So now we'll open up for questions. Thank you.
Hi, Ernesto Chrysler, Diario El Día, La Plata, Argentina. Our paywall is at 60 web pages a month in the newspaper. But according to you, we should lower it to coincide with you guys and have the same number on both sides. We're happy with 60.
Okay, thank you. So just to clarify something. So what I'm sharing here are the results we have seen based on other experiences. So what it means, voy a hablar en español, creo que es más fácil. Gracias, Julio. Sí, sí, solamente estamos compartiendo los resultados que hemos visto basados en las experiencias principalmente en Estados Unidos y en Europa. Eso no quiere decir que si el límite de ustedes es 60 no les funcione. Lo único que sí les digo es, en el momento que ustedes evalúan si esto es un producto que les va a servir o no, deben tener eso en cuenta. Por ejemplo, si ustedes no saben si Instant Articles es un formato que le está dando resultados positivos, si le está dando incremento de lecturas, entonces probablemente ese debería ser el primer paso que deberían tomar. De forma similar, es decir, es analizar, es decir, con 60 en vez de con 30 o con 15. Es decir, el número va a variar por mercado. Es decir, todos los mercados son distintos, incluso dentro de los países es distinto. Pero es importante, porque si no hay un incremento significativo de usuarios que están llegando al muro de pago, entonces probablemente no van a haber muchos resultados. Entonces la pregunta es si les vale la pena invertir en esto y adoptarlo o no.
Hi. My question is a bit before the paywall. I have two web pages. One does let me have instant articles and the other one doesn't. They're both made in WordPress. They're basically the exact same thing, just one, like the content is a bit different. One is news and one is social. But what are the limitations for a web page to have instant articles? Because that's one of the bases of having a paywall.
So just to clarify, the question is, you have 2 websites, and then you have 2 Facebook pages, and then one has instant articles enabled and the other doesn't. Oh, so it's not been allowed to use instant articles on one of the pages.
What was the reason for the? Okay. I think in that case, you would probably only be able to use this product for the page that can qualify for instant articles. To clarify the question, what are the limitations? I'm assuming that there are certain guidelines that second page that did not meet in terms of just the eligibility guidelines for the product. Are you a managed partner? You are, okay. And who's your SPM? Okay. I would recommend that you reach out to your SPM, and they'll be able to provide more detail about what may be happening with that second page.
Yeah, what I would say, it doesn't have to do anything with how instant articles are implemented. It's not the technology. It's probably something different, perhaps related to the content, but that's my take.
Hello, good morning. Edgar Cuellar from El País, Colombia. Do you have any numbers in terms of how this product is performing, in different newspapers, in terms of conversion, for example, or things like that? Have some numbers to share? I mean, is it a good performance or not? What is the feedback from the publishers that have this implemented?
Yeah, so one stat that I mentioned was when we were doing the A/B testing in 2018, we found that there was a 17% lift in likelihood to purchase a subscription versus users that were only seeing mobile web links. In terms of ongoing numbers, we're not really surfacing those right now just because the experience varies so dramatically between publishers. I can say though that what we've seen for a large chain in the US that's really implemented well with their product and sort of taken on the best practices of equal metering on their owned and operated properties versus instant articles. So they set up a nice A/B test. The lift in terms of the paywall, so users reaching the paywall versus users that are reaching a paywall on the mobile website, it's very, very high, 40+%. We don't want to say that that's going to be representative of every publisher though. And it may vary based on the publisher's local audience. It may vary based on how well they implement with the product.
Sí, aquí tenemos otra pregunta.
Hi, good morning. Name is Kamal from Trinidad and Tobago. For publishers that have not yet made the paywall transition, right, and depend very heavily still on the advertising model, how does Facebook Instant Articles embed with that in terms of can you advertise using the Instant Articles or not? Or is it strictly for companies that have made the transition to paywalls?
Yeah, no. So there's definitely still the capability to have programmatic advertising in Instant Articles, and then also direct sold advertising as well. So it's Instant Articles itself. It's a separate product that you do not have to have a subscription model just to use Instant Articles. The paywall is built into that product.
¿Alguien más, por favor? ¿Otra pregunta? Vamos.
En la presentación mencionaban que van a permitir que linkeen sus usuarios la cuenta que puedan tener en mi sitio con Facebook. de entrada decían que se iba a permitir con Instant Articles. Decían que también lo iban a permitir más adelante para los que no utilizáramos Instant Articles. ¿Tienen algún tiempo estimado para habilitar eso?
No timeline yet for that. The solution that we're working on to enable account linking outside of Instant Articles. So to give a little bit of context, right now, currently, the only way that we offer that account linking is through subscriptions in Instant Articles. We're working on a separate way of doing that. It's a solution that we're calling backfilling that would be unlocked for publishers who are not even on Instant Articles at all. We're actually working on that a lot over the next few months. We're going to start testing with some large publishers first, just a handful, while we work out the any kinks in the implementation and understand the product a bit better. I can't give a specific timeline yet. Ideally, I would hope for some time in 2020, hopefully earlier in 2020. But it's definitely something that we're working on very diligently. And we're pretty excited about it as well, because there will be a slight difference in the way that the account linking works for this versus subscriptions and Instant Articles. Publishers will be able to tell us all at once who their existing subscribers are. So they can tell us, it could be thousands and tens of thousands of people that will then go out and look to see if there's a matching account on Facebook based on their email address. And so you'll be able to do this process at scale. Versus the current backfilling option built into this product. It's more of like a one by one basis. When each time you get a new subscriber, they'll be introduced to this process.
Saludos, Omar Santana, República Dominicana. ¿Qué pasa cuando yo tengo una cobertura especial de un evento y yo quisiera relacionar artículos a través de etiquetas, a través de vínculos? ¿Cómo yo puedo lograr que esa línea de tiempo de producción de información que yo tengo se mantenga en Instant Article y me genere también mayor tiempo de tráfico en Instant Articles?
So the question was about Instagram.
If they can, question if they can group like multiple articles like a story arc, and then if Instant Articles has some feature related to that they can benefit from.
In terms of grouping the stories together.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm not totally familiar with that. I don't think that we do have any special functionality built in for that use case, unfortunately.
Sí, no tenemos forma de etiquetar ahora contenido y de agruparlo. Sí, siempre puedes enlazarlos unos a otros, pero el Instant Article es un formato solamente. Solamente es cómo se representa el contenido que ustedes están incluyendo, y puede estar enlazado, pero si fuera de eso no hay ninguna forma de agruparlo de una forma que sea lógica si está relacionado con un mismo evento.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
And just to follow up on that a little bit, so if you are on subscriptions to Instant Articles, but you want to do like special event coverage, or you have some unique area of coverage that you want to focus on as well, in those cases, you could elect not to have those articles in Instant Articles format. So when you go to post a story, you'll be able to select what format you want, whether it goes to mobile web or whether it'll go to Instant Articles. You could always have those stories in mobile web so that when a user is clicking, it's just like a traditional link. When a user clicks into those stories that you're focused on for that campaign, it'll just go to your mobile website rather than Instant Articles. So you'll be able to capture all that data directly in those use cases.
So just one other thing. So smaller publishers depend on bounce rates to their websites to sell to advertisers. I'm just wondering, Instant Articles, in terms of the analytics, do they reflect in any way to the numbers on your website, or is that completely separate? When you click on an Instant Article, does it show as a bounce to your website, or it's not linked in that way at all? Yeah?
I get it now. Yeah, so the way Instant Articles work is that they load on Facebook, not on your website. But we do have support for analytics on the Instant Article itself. So you can embed analytic tracker, multiple, Google, Facebook, Omniture, anyone you want, and then you'll be able to fire like a page view or a content view, and then you can slice and dice and understand if it's coming actually from your website or if it's coming from Instant Articles. And similar goes to other accelerated formats, like if you use Google AMP, you should be able to do the same, and then group all the traffic and then understand what's the source of it.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? Ah, bien, Ricardo. Creo que...
Muchísimas gracias. Bueno, muchas gracias, muy amable por su taller. Vamos a estar en un coffee break dentro de un ratito, así que tenemos la oportunidad de seguir charlando con Facebook sobre esos temas. Así que muchas gracias, muy amable.
Gracias. Thank you.